Heyo! What is going on, everybody? Happy Saturday. I believe it's Saturday still. Excuse the squeaky gaming chair. How is everybody out there today? I see Space Tacos in chat. Welcome to the party. It's good to see you. Haven't seen you in a minute. Philip Cuban, welcome to the party. Get my beverage situation here straightened out. That's good moonshine. Just kidding. Where am I? Today's drink sponsor is Black Rifle Coffee. Jet black. That's how I like it. Philip Cuban says good evening. Early evening for me. Sleepy Queen, hello, welcome. Welcome. I hope everyone is having a wonderful fall weekend. I know I'm excited. The leaves are starting to change. Fall is my favorite season when the leaves start to change. Football season, chilly, all the good stuff that comes with fall. McKay Rogers, welcome. We're going to take off. Where we left off last week, doing some domain 1 review, and then we'll probably jump into some more questions from different domains. Maybe we'll randomize it and jump somewhere else. If this is your first time joining us, welcome. This is Slay Security Plus. My name is Jesse J, aka the Cosmic Cowboy. And for the next hour, we're going to crush some Security Plus questions from the official CompTIA Cert Master official quote-unquote practice questions. One of the main reasons that we do this is to give you, if you're preparing, not only to build a place for extra community and have just a place for people to come hang out, but if you are practicing or studying for your Security Plus, this gives you a really good insight to how the questions are worded. We use the CompTIA official stuff, and then we also use Professor Messer's practice questions. I find that between the two, it's a really good analog for what the real deal is going to look like. Always awesome AM. Good to have you in the class. Kind of bananas. Welcome, misty-eyed. Some of our regular students are pouring in, and classmates and community members. I think Slay Security Plus is kind of taking on its own life, and we're way beyond just a class. We're a community of friends and cybersecurity enthusiasts and InfoSec IT nerds who like to get together, hang out on Saturdays, look at some practice questions, and talk about how our cybersecurity journey is going. Let's do this. Let's get into some questions here in a minute. I'm going to pay the bills on the front end so that we can jump straight into the questions. Slay Security Plus is sponsored by Simply Cyber. So whether you are trying to level up, jump into cybersecurity, build mentorship, or just find more avenues to discover your role or your path, or just more, or your GRC related, GRC Mafia, what's up? Check out Simply Cyber. I'm going to pay some bills from Dr. Jerry Ozier, and then we'll get right into the questions.
Are you feeling lost in the vast world of cybersecurity, overwhelmed by technical jargon and confusing career paths? You're not alone. That's why I built Simply Cyber. Hi, I'm Dr. Gerald Ozier. Come join Simply Cyber, your supportive and inclusive community for navigating the exciting world of cyber. There's so much to take advantage of. Master the skills you need with Simply Cyber Academy, offering in-depth courses aligned with the GRC analyst role. Never feel isolated. Connect with fellow cyber enthusiasts and professionals in our thriving Discord server. Ask questions, get feedback, share your journey. Check out the Simply Cyber YouTube channel, delivering insightful interviews. What are your thoughts around, web app pen testing as entry level? And I included Bug Bounty here because that's very accessible to everybody. Practical skill demos and daily cyber threat briefs, all hosted by industry experts. There's so much more to discover. Are you ready to join the community and empower your future? Visit simplycyber.io/socials for all the links and start your cyber adventure today.
Woo! Let's go. Thank you, Dr. Jerry Ozier. I'm super excited. Monday I'll be working. Tuesday I'm working. Wednesday I will start my drive to Deadwood, South Dakota for my second time attending Wild West Hacking Fest. Ridiculously excited. My roommate is a person in the community that I've known for the last year or so, Evan Kirstein. I don't think he's in chat, but Evan Kirstein will be my roommate, and then we're going to be staying right across from the street from some other folks Rainer Roland and B-Dubs, who are in the Slay Security Plus Discord. I've not met them in person, but we'll be staying right across our B&Bs. So I'm really excited. We're going to do some Mississippi pot roast one night. And then, of course, John Strand has a steak cook-off. If you're not making it to Wild West Hacking Fest, I'm sorry if this is giving you FOMO, but it's such a phenomenal con to go to. It's really close-knit. You learn a ton, and you get to hang out with really fun people like Dr. Jerry Ozier, Joseph Cadden from Casually Joseph. So I'm excited to see if any of you are in chat and are going to be at Wild West Hacking Fest. Let me know in chat. If you'd like to go, let me know in chat. If you've ever been to a con, let me know. Actually, I've never been to DEF CON. I know a lot of you get FOMO around DEF CON. Oh, wait a minute. So this calendar I have here is called a demotivational calendar. It's from an IT provider here in town, an MSP. And it has the classic picture and a little tagline, but then the quote underneath is what they call a demotivational. So let's see what October is together. It's a cat, and it says, inside voice. I need to teach my facial expressions how to use their inside voice. That's funny. And then November is daylight saving. A busy night at Stonehenge as workers move the stones back 1 hour. This is my favorite one in June. It was hope. Hope, always the first step on the road to disappointment. Thank you, ComWest. See if I can successfully get this calendar up. No. Let's see how many cybersecurity professionals does it take to hang up a calendar? That'll have to do. It'll probably fall while we're talking. There it goes. I'm not gonna be able to do the chat with it just not hanging properly. Sorry, folks. Here, I'm kind of seeing an inside look and how the sausage is made. This is fun. This is always fun. I won't charge anybody for this extra tidbit. Oh. Much better. All is right in the world. Rhonda Rummerfield, hi y'all. Welcome to the party. We're going to launch into some practice questions. I see that there's a few more people in chat. Just want to remind you, if this is your first time joining us, this is a completely free community-driven initiative that I started almost 2 years now as a way to help myself along the road as I was studying for Security Plus. And then I also did it kind of as a living resume to people to help inspire and then also build community. Because it's hard, right? A lot of what we do is in the digital world. And you don't get to build the community like you do if you work a 9 to 5 and kind of rubbing elbows with everybody every day. And so we built Slay Security Plus, and we've gotten some sponsorship on the way. We've gotten some gifts along the way from people, but it's been an absolute wild ride. And so what we do is we help people prepare for their Security Plus by going over top tier practice exams, performance-based questions, live special guests, and then some jaw jacking and some fun stuff along the way. So with that being said, let's get into some questions. What component of modern access controls determines what rights users should have on each resource? A, authentication, B, authorization, C, identification, or D, accounting? Feel free to drop your answer in chat. It's okay to be wrong, because we're all learning. Whoa. In fact, I might be studying for my Security Plus at the same time, as if I don't get something else, CISA Plus, mine will expire next year. I got mine last year. What component of modern access controls determines what rights a user should have on each resource? A, authentication, B, authorization, C, identification, or D, accounting? And you're going to notice when you're prepared or when you sit down for your exam that some of the actual test questions on test day are going to be small, one sentence, really straightforward, relatively easy questions. And then as you will see as we go on to some more of these questions, some will be a little more lengthy, a little more wordy, and cause you just to think just a little bit more. I'm seeing the answer B, light up chat like a Christmas tree. So let's give it a few more seconds. Can I reset these timers? Nope. Nope. What component of modern access controls determines what rights? Well, authentication. So let's answer this question. Everyone says B, so I'll mark B as our final answer. It looks like most everybody in class has said we think it's B, Jess. And let's go over why we think it's B and then maybe why we think it's not the other answers. Well, in the CIA triad, one of the parts is, confidentiality, integrity, and availability. But then we also have this other framework that is very common to cybersecurity, our AAA accounting or our AAA framework, right? Authorization, accounting, and authentication. We know that authentication is this process of proving you are who you say you are. CPEs. How many CPEs do I get for doing practice training for the Security Plus? I don't know. Is that an option? That's a great thing to look into because we've got almost a year and a half of consistent 1 hour to 2 hour streams of studying for this sucker. So that's a great question. I should research that. We know that identification in the framework is this component where, let's say I get a new job and HR says, okay, your name is Jesse J. Well, you are now 513353, and that is your identification code. And so while I have a name, I might be assigned a passcode, a number, a key card, some kind of badge, and that is now my identification. So we're trying to determine what rights users should have on each resource. How far can they go? What can they see? What can they not see? So we know it's not identification, and we know that accounting is this component of, we can think of accounting as keeping ourselves accountable. Let's say your computer keeps you accountable at a workstation by logging successful logins, successful logouts, and let's say changes made to a shared drive. Well, that's that accounting piece of that framework, which leaves us with authorization. I agree. I also think it's authorization. Let's see what the judges say. Bing, bing. Correct answer. Authorization refers to determining what rights users should have on each resource and enforcing those rights. Authorization may involve permissions, individual, group, or role-based. Authentication, on the other hand, refers to proving that users are who or what they claim to be when attempting to access a resource. An authentication factor determines what sort of credential users can use. Identification refers to creating an account or ID that uniquely represents the user device or process on the network. And then accounting refers to tracking the authorized usage of a resource or use of rights by a subject and alerting when detecting unauthorized usage. So let's roll. Good job. Moving on. A medium-sized mechanical engineering firm wants to better define the account creation process during the onboarding of new hires. It is looking to ensure that the new hires have the right programs, file permissions, and security controls completed ahead of time through automation. What modern access control implementation would aid the company's account creation process? A, IAM, or Identity and Access Management. B, LDAP, or Lightweight Directory Access Protocol. C, a CISO, or Chief Information Security Officer, or D, CTO, Chief Technology Officer? While you answer the questions in chat, I'm going to go through and at least take off 2 that we know probably aren't correct. What modern access control implementation? So we can automatically take off CTO and CISO because those are people, those are roles, those are positions in a cybersecurity team or in a business within an organization. This is talking about an access control implementation. Now, the CTO and the CISO might implement whatever this correct answer is, but that is not what the question is asking. So we can take off C and D right out the gate. I'm going to try some of these names that I have not tried to pronounce. I'm a big fan of, no matter where somebody is coming from in the world, at least trying to pronounce the name. Even if I butcher it, well, then I get corrected. I know how to. I think names are super important. And I don't know, I think it's fun. So I'm going to try with one that I have not seen. Is that Sandex or Sandex? Sandex Guru. And then Edidion Uko. Let me know if I'm close on those. Or at least your handle. That might be your name or your handle, but I'm going to give it a whirl. Rhonda Rummerfield, a Simply Cyber regular. Thanks for the review. Have a second interview, meeting the team on Friday. Let's go. I have sound effects dialed up, but they're not piped in. That's something I'm working on for next session, for next year. Thanks for the review. Have a second interview, meeting the team on Friday. My answer is A. Doesn't sound like you need much luck, but I'll wish you anyways good luck and absolutely slay it, Rhonda. I'm sure you will. Meeting the team is always that nice. I always like getting through. Once my application gets through, just let me talk to somebody. Typically, once I can get face-to-face, I can discuss maybe some inadequacies or some areas of my resume or get to meet the team. You get a good read on people. Practice some social engineering. Edidion, which I'm probably slaughtering. Uko, I'm new here. Welcome to the party, pal. Space Taco is a good friend of mine and a longtime Slay Security Plus supporter, as well as a longtime member of the Simply Cyber community. GRC Mafia. It looks like everybody in class is saying A. I tend to agree. Identity and access management is this component of really, it's just, I look at it as a framework, a control implementation. It's really this kind of where we're at in our organizations when it comes to making sure people have the right programs, file permissions, security controls are in place. And LDAP, we know, is a protocol that systems use to access a directory of some kind. Typically, that's Active Directory. What port does that operate on? Is that 389, I think? IAM is correct. The company typically implements modern access controls, identity and access management system. The company would want to implement an IAM system to ensure proper creation of accounts and their associated permissions. B, not correct. Lightweight directory access protocol would be one portion of a complete IAM system. Additionally, LDAP may not apply depending on the infrastructure chosen. Yes, some companies might not use LDAP. And then we know that C and D could be the parties that are responsible for implementing those things, implementing those measures, but that's not what the question is asking. Move on. An engineer for a small company is trying to explain the importance of security to the company's owner. The owner feels the company does not need permissions added to the shared drive containing highly sensitive information. What security concept means that information can only be read by people who have been explicitly authorized to access it? A, confidentiality, B, integrity, C, availability, or D, recovery. While you put the answer in chat, we'll do a little bit of tidbit Saturdays. This is my second to last. Maybe, I don't think this will be our last. We'll have Slay Security Plus from the Simply Cyber booth next week. Either that or from the TCM booth, I think, or maybe from the Black Hills. I'll be collaborating with one of those. I believe that I'm going to be streaming from Jerry's booth next week. Then the week after that, and then Halloween week, we may not have a stream because I am actually moving. My family and I found a sweet little place on the other side of town, up near the Colorado National Monument, which is pretty cool. It's a gorgeous little area. We found a sweet little rental while we save up and prepare to buy a home in the next couple of years. And so we will be making our way across town. I live smack dab in the middle of our quote unquote city. There's buildings and businesses. I mean, I'm right in the middle of the city. And so I'm excited to be surrounded by red rocks and cactus and lizards and snow-capped peaks and all kinds of stuff. So I'm stoked. Misty-eyed, kind of bananas, always awesome. Rhonda Rummerfield. Everybody in class today is saying, hey, confidentiality. Well, let's talk about why we think that it's confidentiality. I agree. So I'm going to select A out the gate. Sleepy Queen, congratulations on the move. Thank you very much. I'm very, very excited. I thank cybersecurity for that. Getting into the cybersecurity as a legitimate career has been a life changer for my family, financially, but also just what it's provided me as career aspirations and a place to continue to move forward and to learn more. And so thank you, cybersecurity. Thank the cybersecurity community for letting me be a part of it. All right, integrity, we know has to do with this component of resources, files, whatever, staying the same, not changing, right? So we talked about hashing, getting a file hash or assigning a file hash to something to show that this is the way it was before, and then it has not changed. None of that data has been tampered with or changed during that data in transit. Availability, pretty straightforward, has to do with the data being available when it's supposed to be. And then recovery, which isn't part of the CIA triad, but recovery has to do with that piece of, I always think of the recovery as a phase in the incident response phase. After we've identified, contained, eradicated, then we're going to recover our systems before that lessons learned component. So we know it's not D, we know it's not C, we know it's not B. I agree with you all, class. I also think it's A. And the correct answer is A. With confidentiality, integrity, and availability, also known as the CIA triad, confidentiality means that only people with explicit authorization to access the information can read it. This type of authority involves setting permissions for files and folders. Integrity refers to storing and transferring data as intended and authorized. A much more technical way of saying what I was trying to say. I appreciate that, CompTIA. Thank you. Availability refers to information that is readily accessible to those authorized to view or modify it. And then recovery is the last part of the National Institute of Standards and Technology cybersecurity framework, which refers to implementing cybersecurity resilience to restore systems and data if other controls cannot prevent attacks. Okay, so they're going from on the GRC side with the cybersecurity framework. I was going more on the incident response framework side because recovery does sit in both of those, but they chose the NIST CSF part, which is totally correct. Hey, James McQuiggan, what is going on? We are glad you're part of this community, cybersecurity community, and sharing your knowledge. I hope to have a cold beverage with you or a warm beverage in Deadwood. Are you going to be there this year? It was great hanging out with you last year. Rhonda Rummerfield. I thought you were looking to relocate to Charleston. Wrong person. Nope, that was me. So I got a little bit ahead of myself when it came to relocating. We got really excited as I was applying for jobs in the industry to potentially get something that was either fully remote. I really wanted to be closer to the Charleston and the South Carolina community. That's where Jerry lives. That's where Justin Gold lives. That's where Joseph Cadden lives, is in the Southern Carolina area. And so I was really excited. And my family, we love the South, and we've got some connections out there. And so that is still on the, I don't want to say bucket list, but that is still on our potential roadmap. And so we're taking these next 2 years in this rental, which is really affordable, especially for where it is. We're going to take these next couple of years to pay off some debt, maybe level up in my job, maybe once, hopefully twice, and then we'll start looking for maybe another official move or see where we're at with a career. So South Carolina is definitely still a dream location to go to, but right now we're hanging out. Sweet, James. James will kicking at 35,000 feet. Excited to see you. Space Taco says, kind of bananas. I love that handle. I do too. It's funny. That's how I feel sometimes. Low country, baby. All right, moving on. Ready for some harder questions. You guys are slaying these. After a server outage due to a security breach, a company has taken several steps to recover from the incident. They have restored critical data from the latest backups and applied urgent security patches to address the exploited vulnerabilities. The security team has updated the incident response plan to incorporate lessons learned from the breach. What category of security control functional type best describes this function of these recent implementations? And I will reread that. A, corrective, B, preventative, D, detective, or C, operational. After a server outage due to a recent breach, a company has taken several steps to recover from the incident. So this is all operational, technical in my head. They've restored critical data from the latest backups. That's technical. That's corrective, right? That's the corrective. They've applied urgent security patches to address the exploited vulnerabilities, also corrective. The security team has updated the incident response plan to incorporate lessons learned from the breach. What category of security control functional type best describes the function of these recent implementations? So that includes all of them. And if you're preparing to take the test, something to think about, and I point this out every time so that if somebody jumps in and this all they can see is this one question, that this won't be lost on them. CompTIA does this quite a bit, where in the question they ask you for describe the best this, what is most likely. Pick one or two options in the question. If you notice, the other questions didn't give you that. They just said straightforward, what is it? This one has best in all caps. I believe the actual question will have best, most, whatever that word is, in all caps. This is indicative of a question that you could get partial credit on, meaning that there's probably a better and a best answer. Really underpinning why it's important to answer every single question to the best of your abilities, because maybe you don't get the best answer, but you get, what might have been the better answer than the other two, where you will still get partial credit. So hopefully that gives you some confidence going into the exam. Whenever you see best, most, best and most are the ones that you see mostly. Or sometimes you'll notice that CompTIA will let you select more than one answer for the question. Those are also questions that you will get partial credit on. Maybe you nailed one of them and you missed the other one. Well, you will at least get some credit for the one that you got correct. I see A and D. Talk to me about that. Why do we think it's A? Why do we think it's D? We know it's not preventative, because preventative would have been that part that all those steps that they would have taken to prevent the incident, right? Having good stout EDR, making sure that there was a good change management and a good, what's the word I'm looking for? A patch management process to patching vulnerabilities. I have learned more than anything with the real world of cybersecurity that it is not as easy as just patching systems. Sometimes you have to have compensating controls because a system cannot be patched. Maybe the application that is running on it. I work in healthcare, and so some of the systems that I interact with, if it goes down, somebody could die, whether it's a potential anesthesia machine or surgical equipment. And sometimes those run on systems that can't be patched willy-nilly. And so there's a whole process of compensating controls and other preventative measures that we have to implement to stay HIPAA and CSF compliant. And so you can't just patch it all the time. So we know it's not preventative. Detective, I think of IDSs. I think of maybe sim logs, something that is detecting. And I always think of detecting as maybe during the process, during an incident or an event, whether that is malicious or non-malicious. Sometimes people it looks like they're brute forcing because they're trying to log in so many times that they lock themselves out. So we as a class are pretty certain that it is between A or D. Oh, Kind of Banana says, Space Tacos, I'm in the Virginia Beach area. I was just in Virginia Beach like 3 months ago. Really good food. And it was gorgeous. We had the family had it was for a funeral service, but it was a celebration of life type of thing. So it was actually really fun. Gorgeous. We had a house right there you could throw a piece of sand into the ocean. It was awesome. James McQuiggan making a great point about the Security Plus exam. Most CompTIA exams, definitely a little bit harder in the ISC2, at least at CISSP, which I'm currently passively studying for, is that there isn't it usually one really wrong, two that are close, then the right answer. Yeah, James, give or take, I would tend to agree. You'll find that on these, especially if the question asks, what is the best or what is the most or whatever, that at least one will stand out as being really wrong. Then there's going to be two or maybe three that are close together. And of those three, or sometimes two, one of them will be the best answer. That's a good way to look at it. I see a lot of people are torn between A and D. This is why I think it could be operational. Whenever you think operational, so I'll take this as a teaching moment. When you're going through and you're preparing for your Security Plus, think of operational as the day-to-day stuff, okay? So whether that is, when you think of operational, I usually think, what are people doing the day-to-day stuff, okay? So maybe that's the person running what's the word I'm looking for? The man trap, right? Or now called an access control vestibule to stay with the PC time, take politically correct. They now call it an access control vestibule, or they used to call it a man trap, where you walk through one door and then sometimes you might have a camera that you wave at before, and it prevents anybody from piggybacking in behind you. And it's just another physical security control. So you go into the first door, and then there's a little room. Maybe there's a person that you check in with, and then you go into the actual data center or wherever you're supposed to be. Whenever you think operational, think day-to-day. And let's double check that really quick. I don't want to give people bad info, but I'm almost possible that's day-to-day. We'll go with Professor Messer. Whoa, where'd you go? Where'd you go? Control F. Operate. So going back to the Professor Messer notes, operational controls implemented by people instead of systems. Again, the day-to-day. Security guards, awareness programs, that is operational. Let's look at corrective. Corrective, apply a control after an event has been detected. Reverse the impact of event. Continual operating with minimal problem. Here's some examples. Corrective control types. Restoring from backup can mitigate. Creating policies for reporting security issues. Let's go back to our question. We had a breach. They restored critical data from the latest backups and cured patches. They also updated the incident response plan. So we have two things. We've got apply a control, right? So we applied the control of maybe some patch management. We restored from backups, and we created something in our incident response plan. So that to me tells me that they're looking for a corrective control type here. And that is correct. Corrective controls, come on, Jess. Corrective controls eliminate or reduce the impact of a security policy violation. A corrective control occurs after an attack. In this scenario, depending on whether you're from, these actions aim to directly address the damage caused by the outage and improve the recovery process. Preventative controls eliminate or reduce the likelihood that an attack can succeed. The company implements this control to avert or prevent a potential incident from occurring. Detective controls may not prevent or deter access, but they will identify and record an attempted or successful intrusion. A security camera would be a type of detective control. And with the controls, let's go back to the notes. Something to think about, and Professor Messer says it really well when he's talking about it, and so does Pete Zerger, is you have to look at the control within the context of the scenario that you're giving, because a lot of these controls can be overlapping. They can fall within each other, right? So these are not inclusive lists, right? There are many categories of control. Some organizations will combine the control types, and this is where I was going with what I was kind of jaw-jacking about. There are multiple security controls for each security type. Some security controls may exist in multiple types or categories, right? So it's super important to kind of look at the context of the question. We can take this question, for example, where they say a security camera would be a type of detective control because it's capturing footage of whatever's going on. But a security camera might be a deterrent because you look, you go, oh, sorry, Kennedy. There's a security camera there. I'm not going to go in. I'm not going to go do the bad things I'm going to do. So keep that in mind as you're preparing. Just make sure that you're looking at the answers kind of within the context of the question. After implementing the National Institute of Standards and Technology, or NIST, I love NIST, cybersecurity framework, the CISO, Chief Information Security Officer, is assessing the company's security posture to identify deficiencies from the framework's recommendations. What process can the CISO run to get a better sense of what the company needs to improve on? A, implement a business continuity plan. B, run a pen test or a penetration test. C, implement disaster recovery plan. Or D, run a gap analysis. You're welcome, misty-eyed. Thanks for repeating the question, she said. Kind of Banana says, so operational equals people. Got to remember that. Yep, a lot of times you'll want to you'll think of operational as either the people part or kind of the day-to-day, but operational, we think of people, not technology. Can a security camera also be preventative? I think so, absolutely. Good coffee. I always know good coffee because I typically, unless I feel like treating myself, hey, I drink my coffee black. And I can always tell good quality coffee is if once it gets cool, if it doesn't get bitter. When coffee gets really bitter as it cools down, to me that is either over roasted or maybe it's a blend that I just don't. It's not for me, and other people like it. Space Tacos makes a good point. As you're studying for these questions and you're preparing for the exam, something to keep in mind is that CompTIA is not trying to quiz you on the entirety of all of cybersecurity. CompTIA is looking for they have a knowledge base. Somewhere on the back end, CompTIA has all of the correct answers, and they're really trying to ask you questions from this 10,000 foot view. And so you're going to answer the question to what you're going to take what CompTIA gives you. Just like in football, like, wow, we got to take what they give us. You got to take what CompTIA gives you in the question and answer it to the best of your abilities within the confines of the question. It's easy to let your mind go crazy and go, well, the answer that is probably more correct isn't on this list, and so it can't be any of these. Remember, CompTIA is kind of trying to get specific information almost from a 10,000 foot view regarding the study plan, right? And so I always think it's uber important. Let's see if I can find it. I usually try and have it pulled up. Where is it? Messer, no. No, help me out here. Nothing is in my downloads. Let me in downloads. Course notes, 701 objectives. This should be like your Bible while you're studying. All right, go find a copy of this, download it from CompTIA's website. Remember that you are only studying, not only, but you're 99.9 of what you're studying comes from this. They give you what they're going to study, what they're going to quiz you on. Right? And so they're really going to quiz you and send you questions about the stuff on this list, not everything that is all in intro to cybersecurity or everything that the internet has about the intro to cybersecurity. CompTIA tells you what they're going to quiz you on, and it's the stuff from here. And that's why for the $30, the Professor Messer notes cover everything line by line, point by point within the exam. Another place you can go while we're answering questions is, and I'll drop this link in chat. This is a great place to get resources. Inside. Hey, look, we're live. It's like a dream within a dream. The stuff from Pete Zerger is phenomenal, okay? And he gives you all of his notes. These notes that I was using, let's see, last couple of times. Oh, this is Messer. But I'll give you an example of what his notes look like. He lets you download all of his slides absolutely free. I think they're outstanding. Here we go. And my computer is being funky today. I wonder if I got breached. Just kidding. His notes are phenomenal. So I'm going to just link this in chat. Control C, Control V. Go watch his stuff as you're preparing and download the slides. He gives them to you right here. PDF presentation, download Security Plus. They're outstanding. You get all the slides you see here. So between that, coming to live study sessions and doing some practice questions, whether Professor Messer, which I think are the best in the business, especially for $30, you're going to be more than prepared. So you've got a visual source that you can write down, print them out, or whatever. Use your PDF reader here within your browser to mark things up. That was almost an inappropriate drawing. That's funny. What about the Mike Chappelle study guide? Yeah, I thought that was pretty good too. I had Space Toggles might remember when I had 601, I both purchased and was gifted basically all of the textbooks. And I found that the Daryl Gibson and the Mike Chappelle ones were the closest that had the content. And the Cybex one's pretty good too. Rhonda Rummerfield says, I'm not sure if it is up to date, but I used 100 Labs. Are you talking about 101labs.net? Pete Zerger and Professor Messer. There you go. And remember, Professor Messer's stuff is, other than like the printed notes and the practice tests, you can watch his entire video series either from YouTube or you can go to his website and watch those all for free. So, I mean, that's a great way to go. All right, back to the question at hand. Perfection is perfected, so I'll let him understand from a young G's perspective. I don't know what gap analysis is, so my answer is B. Well, let's answer this. Everyone's, hey, Mary, good to have you in chat. I see a few people saying gap analysis. I believe that is the correct answer as well. Let's take this moment for some instructional points. A gap analysis is exactly what this question is asking. We're going to take the NIST. We'll use the NIST CSF or cybersecurity framework. And an organization will take that framework and then we'll say, okay, we're going to use this framework and we are going to, this is what we strive to be. right? And then this cybersecurity framework outlines controls, it outlines resource management, it outlines everything in a business that you should do to be up to par, quote unquote, right? To be secured in accordance with that framework. Okay. And so an organization is going to take that NIST CSF framework, and then they're going to go through and they're going to do an assessment or an audit. This is where the GRC comes in, the guys with the clipboards. And they're going to sit down with their clipboards and they're going to interview the CISOs, they're going to interview whoever, the security analyst, whatever that organization looks like. And they're going to say, okay, I have the golden map here of how things should be. Now I'm going to interview and I'm going to say, okay, do you have multi-factor authentication? Yes. Do you have it on your production servers? No. Do you have it on your workstations? Yes. Okay, and that's just an example, right? You're going to go through all the different controls that are listed in the cybersecurity framework, and you're going to do an audit of that organization, okay? And you're going to see the deficiencies or what they're lacking in compared to the frameworks or recommendations. That area in the middle is a gap. It's a gap in the framework. It's a gap in the security posture. And so we call that a gap analysis. So whenever you see the words gap analysis, automatically your brain should be going to GRC, and it should be going to frameworks, and you should be thinking words like auditing, right? And so that is what a gap analysis is it's taking a framework that's set. It could be ISO 27111, 27K1. It could be CSF. It could be CIS. It could be any of the SOC 2, whatever. It could be any of the various frameworks that are out there. And through an audit, you're trying to see what from this framework does the organization have and what don't they have. And that area of what they don't have is a gap, and that's called a gap analysis. Hopefully that helps. Does anyone know of a good site to practice simulations for Sec Plus? Are you talking about the PBQs, like the performance-based questions, or are you talking about practice, like practice tests? So 101labs.net, I believe, has some free labs you can use. They may have free courses. You'll have to excuse my internet. We reset the browser a bunch of times, and so it's been going ridiculously slow. So I already don't have the greatest internet out here. 101labs.net looks like a place, maybe. And then also see, this is not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for Josh. Where is Log Pacific? So if you go here to Josh Madakor, he has a bunch of practice tests that are pretty dang good that he's drawn up for everybody. I'll put this in chat. This is a great place to quiz yourself. These are great practice questions. And as you see, he's got the CISSP, A+, Net+, CISA+, Sec+, Pentest+, Project+, and ITIL. So that's a great place. And then, of course, the Professor Messer exams and his stuff for $30 for the notes, $30 for the tests. Correct answer is D, a gap analysis. The CISO would be preparing a gap analysis report. This report will show the defects in the company's current security posture against the NIST cybersecurity framework or any other baseline security framework. Moving on. We didn't complete that, did we? Oh, we quit. Let's go, class. We got 100% between this week and last week, which is awesome. I think we got 96% last time we went through it. That tells me that we're reviewing and we're doing great. Sweet. So let's look at some of these as a class since we started. This is where we're at. So you guys are doing really, really well. I think these are great questions, and they do a good job of outlining some. Somebody asked about PBQs. Now, these ones, and if you've been with Slay Security Plus for the last few weeks, we've done a few of these PBQs, and I'll open one up. They are significantly harder than the real deal, but they do provide a good place to see what they look like. Who was asking? Kinda Bananas. If you go to Cybercraft PBQs, he has a whole video series where he only goes through PBQs. You know how Slay Security Plus, it's live. We do some jaw jacking. We go through mostly practice questions, and we kind of talk about them. If you check out Cybercraft's PBQs, as you can see, I was looking at them for my own studying when I was taking Security Plus. This is a great place to go through and see what they look like and kind of what they feel like. So I'll also link this in chat. I hope this helps. I know it helps a lot of other people. 69,000 views. Check out Cybercraft because he does a great job explaining them in depth. He's a CompTIA partner at this point, I believe. I've reached out to him a couple times. Really nice guy. But we'll open up a PBQ. They're hard. We had a hard time going through some. I find them to be significantly harder than the real deal. But Space Tacos makes a great point. When you do the PBQs, look at them, think of them as almost a glorified multiple choice question, because this is what they're going to do to you. Let's just pick one. I don't know. Here we go. So when you go into your PBQ, it's going to be one of a few things. It's either going to be drag and drop, fill in the blank, or like a select. They're not going to give you just a blank command line with a flashing screen and say, find some artifacts and analyze them. It's going to be very confined within the parameters of this set because you only have 90 minutes. We're going to have to go out of unview it just a little bit smaller, unfortunately. So this is what a PBQ is going to look like. You can have up to 6 of them on the exam. It is recommended by a lot of people. This may or may not work for you, so take this with a grain of salt. It is recommended that people do all of their multiple choice first and then come back to the PBQs. Yes, the PBQs may be worth more points because they're just heftier and you get all these different bullets. So one question is going to have X amount of drop downs and bullets, but you're only going to have 6 of them. So and they take a lot longer. A PBQ might take you 2 to 3 minutes. Believe me, you're going to have, if you study and you're prepared, you're going to be just fine. You're going to get through your multiple choice, right? And then you're going to have time to go do your PBQs. And in a lot of cases, now you may get your test and you may open it up and the first PBQ is just going to be really simple for you. Go ahead, smash it out, get out of the way, take care of it. But then if you notice that the other 2 or 3 are just harder than what you're expecting, or you've got to think a little bit more than you're expecting, I highly recommend you go answer the multiple choice first because it's going to get those cybersecurity juices flowing. It's going to get your brain thinking CompTIA speak. It's going to get your brain thinking in this CompTIA language and what they're looking for. And it actually may answer some of the questions from the PBQ. And so take a glance at them. And then go answer them and then come back and then make sure you do. So in your actual practice exam, you're going to get the option to, select an answer. You can flag it for later, or you can just move on, right? So it's going to move linearly. In fact, what I mean by that is it's going to go question 1, then the next question 2, question 3. When you get to the very end, you're going to get a chance to, it's going to show you all of them with little flags by the ones that you have flagged for later. So get through them as quickly and as efficiently as you can. And then you're going to be able to kind of get a chance and make sure and review all the ones that you flagged for later and go back. Wait, up to 6? I thought it was 3. Nope. It is up to 6. It could be 1 and it could be 6. Here's the beauty though. If you get 6 multiple choice, you're probably only going to have 65 to 70. I'm sorry. If you have 6 PBQs, there's a good chance. Remember, you're not going to get 90 questions for sure. CompTIA says it could be up to 90 questions. Up to 90 questions. And so, maximum of 90. right? They won't give you more than 90, but that doesn't mean that they won't give you less, which is kind of encouraging. If you get 6 PBQs, you're probably only going to get like 75 or 76 multiple choice. So you're not going to get 85 PBQs or 85 multiple choice and then 5 PBQs, because they know that's just not realistic for people. Oh, please let me get 1 PBQ. I got 4 when I took my exam. I got 4 PBQs. One of them was a firewall, it actually looked a lot like, hint. See this firewall one here? There's a couple different firewall ones that he goes through. Now I did the 601 exam, but I had a firewall question, and thank goodness, because it looked a lot like that one. I had a firewall question. I had a Linux question, a command line question where you could drag and drop different commands. I had another one just like this where you're matching different things, right? Based on the scenario, use checkboxes and select the fields in each table that you should obfuscate, and the techniques that you can use to properly obfuscate data. Use the drop-down selectors to rate the risk level associated with this data and the steps to mask it. So we see some PHI, or personal health information. We see a name, a social security number, a birthday, gender, their medical diagnosis, an email, phone number. Woo, this is all some juicy stuff to sell to data brokers on the dark web. Rhonda Rummerfield got 4. Yeah, I got 4 as well. Okay. Identify the fields in each table that you should obfuscate. Well, name, definitely social security number, email address, let's see what the scenario says. As data systems and security specialist for a healthcare institution, wow. Involved in research, you must ensure the organization's adherence to security best practices and data sharing. Specifically, the institution's commitment to preserving patient confidentiality requires obfuscating sensitive data before exchanging data with the research collaborators. Your primary role includes applying appropriate techniques to obfuscate specific data columns. This process will safeguard both PII and PHI, yet ensure that the data remains functional for the research objectives. Points to note. While ensuring data security, it is imperative to retain the ability to research associates to assess the veracity of lab outcomes based on the employed testing procedures. 2, researchers will analyze the precision of blood tests concerning diverse diagnostic outcomes, so data integrity is crucial. Okay. So PHI and PII. Well, there's 2 different things, right? Personal health identity and then PII are just identifying information. So we don't need to obfuscate that it's a lab test or that it was a blood test. We don't need to the date, the result, definitely the phone number. What else do we think in chat? This is what a PBQ will look like on your test. Something very similar with some drop downs, some selectables, maybe some fill in the blanks. But usually they're drop downs or drag and drop. You have a bunch of little boxes up here and you can drag them to the correct spot. Birthday, patient ID. See, B-Day. Yeah, probably birthday. don't think we should obfuscate the date or the result. Let's go to our scenario. Researchers will also will analyze the precision of blood tests concerning diverse diagnostic outcomes. So data integrity is crucial. I think we need to have the outcome there. Rate the level of risk associated with the selected fields. I think high. Right? We may want to do this one twice. That's what I noticed with the PBQs is sometimes you're answering the way you think they are. And then I remember a few weeks ago, we were doing one live. We got like 36% because it was wacky. I almost want to take that stream down, but I'm not going to because that's how you learn. You know what we could do is we could token the data. What do you guys think? Select the techniques that you can use to properly obfuscate the data, so we can choose more than one. You don't want to do salting, because salting the data would be sprinkling in random bits of data before you hash something. So this is a bad example, but we don't want to salt it. So that's not, and we don't want to do key stretching. We don't do either one of those two. But I think we could do tokening, and I think we do masking. Select patient ID. Yeah, because we can token it. We could say instead of it being, I don't know, whatever. I'm sure they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, instead of patient 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, we'll tokenize that, and we'll call it instead of patient, we'll call it PER for person, and we'll call it person whatever. We'll assign a different set of numbers. So I agree. We all agree on tokening and masking, not salting and key stretching. The doctor we might want to mask as well. We might want to obfuscate that as well. No additional comments are hard because they need that. They need those comments for research, I think. Let's see. While ensuring data security, it is imperative to retain the ability to research associates to assess the veracity of lab outcomes based on the employed testing procedures. What does veracity mean? Is that like how efficient it was? If it was conformity to facts, accuracy. That was what we're looking for, how accurate it is. Poner Joe says, wouldn't we want to obfuscate the result of the lab test? I don't think so, because we're trying to, we need to know for the research how researchers will analyze the precision of blood tests concerning diverse diagnostic outcomes. So if we obfuscate the result or change it, we won't know if the test actually worked or not, or if it was accurate. Anything else? Phone number, we can mask that. Token it. Email address, we can mask that. Birth date, we can mask it or token it. Social security number, again, mask or token. Patient name, mask or token. Doctor, and the patient ID. Or do we want the doctor to stay there? Because if you think about it, all of these other things, if I was a hacker and I got a document and all it had was the result, the test date, and the lab test was performed, and everything else was tokenized or masked, I wouldn't really have much. Could I do something with it? Yeah, I want to keep tokening there. Rate the level of risk associated with the selected fields. I'm going to go with high. All right, let's send it, team. What do we think? Okay, here we go. Unchecked doctor. Yeah, you could tokenize the doctor or not do anything with it at all. All right, let's send it. I like it. Doesn't ask about insurance provider. Does ask about phone number. So this is all of our PAI and PHI, right? The person's name, identifier, SSN identifier, birthday identifier, their gender identifier, their diagnosis is the PHI part. Insurance provider, I don't see that anywhere in here, but that could be part of their PHI, and then a phone number, more PII. So we definitely want to obfuscate it, but we need it to be able to be categorized and documented. So we don't want to salt it. We don't want to do key stretching, tokening, or masking. No doctor would be good for questions coming back from the researchers. Okay. I see. I like that. Let's send it. I think we're all on the same page. Let's go, team. I thought we might miss one on this one, but 16 out of 16. You see that joy on my face? We've never done this one before, so that's a fresh PBQ out the gate. That's a great way to end the stream. We got 16 out of 16 correct. Let's go. That gives me some stoke inside. That's awesome. LFG says Poner Joe. Yes, that's a great way to end the stream. I kind of like this, ending the stream on a PBQ. But hopefully this gives you out there, if you're ready for your test or you just want to kind of see more about how CompTIA works, this is what the Security Plus PBQs can look like. Not all of them necessarily look like it. You can see one we spent 18 minutes on and got 78%. That one was absolutely brutal. Poner Joe says, first time catching Jesse's stream, but it seems like a lot of Simply Cyber people are here, eh? That is correct. I started this on my own before I got involved with Simply Cyber, but then it kind of took off once I was moderating. I wasn't even moderating yet. I was just talking to Jerry about it. I was putting in the comments. Jerry's moderating team reached out to me and said, hey, do you want to be a mod? Obviously I did, because that was like freaking fell in love with what Jerry does and how he operates. And so I got to moderate for Simply Cyber. From that, Jerry was like talking about it on his streams, especially in the thick of it when we were doing the consistent Thursday streams. I mean, Jerry would say, oh, you got Security Plus? Check out Slay Security Plus by Jesse J. And then I believe, unless I'm in trouble, that some of the Simply Cyber folks find their way, because if you go to Simply Cyber, oops. I can't remember where it is. It might be, see, yep. Let's go. Study GRC is there. So, and then Jerry put me here in the Slay Security Plus as part of what they do. And so, yeah, to answer your question, Poner Joe, we have some Simply Cyber folks here. It's awesome. It's a great community. So I hope this has been helpful to you, just as far as studying for Security Plus, helping build some more connections. We are here every Thursday at 2 p.m., 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the foreseeable future. That may change to a weekday, but for right now, we're weekends only. It's been a good atmosphere. I got to roll out. I think we're going to go up to the mountains and look at the leaves that are changing and have chili for dinner. And so that's my plan, maybe play some guitar. But either way, I'm going to read this comment. What a wholesome story. I love it. Jerry is the GOAT. That's amazing that Jerry has done that for you, adding to his channel. Love this community. Yep. He added me. Looks like Chris Whitlock from Study GRC. He's the person who does some of our graphics for Slay Security Plus. He also maintains the slaysec.plus website. Was also influenced by what we're doing, and then he did his own thing, and that's taken off. Philip Cuban, building my confidence. Thank you. That's what we're here for. Have a great weekend. Poner Joe, you as well. Space Tacos, as always, much love. It's good to see you. Always awesome, Am. You're very welcome. Kind of Bananas, thank you for the kind words. Have a safe trip and move. Looking forward to it. We will drive carefully on the way home. Mary says, nice, I enjoyed this. Thank you. You're very welcome. So come back next Saturday. Actually, no, we won't be Saturday because I'll be driving home from Deadwood. Next week, and I'll put a lot of hype around it, I'll probably be at least, I'd like to be on a couple, maybe one of the daily cyber threat parties with Jerry, but I'll be riding shotgun with him at the Simply Cyber booth at Wild West Hacking Fest this year. And so you'll definitely get an update, but we will be live streaming. Next Slay Security Plus will be live streamed from Deadwood, from Wild West Hacking Fest. You never know who's going to be there. Last year, Heath Adams from TCM jumped on and answered a question. Jerry answered a question. Zach Hill answered a question. Josh Mason answered a couple questions. We don't know. It might be crazy. It might just be me, and it might be the entire cybersecurity community. I don't know who's going to be there. Next week, we will be broadcasting from Wild West Hacking Fest in Deadwood. Then the week after that, we'll return to our normally scheduled bat channel, same bat time, same bat channel. I got to run. My name is Jesse J. You all are Slay Security Plus. It's been an honor and it's been a pleasure answering some questions and hanging out with you tonight. Take care of yourself. Take care of each other. If you have any questions, find me on LinkedIn, find me on Discord, reach out. I try and stay as accessible as I can. Got to catch up on some questions on LinkedIn, just been behind with work and stuff, but you do what you can, right? Try and communicate and get in there when you can. All right, now I'm just jabbering.